welcome you to Oakland, California, and tonight's broadcast, which is brought to you by Prologis. With an international portfolio, Prologis supports global and local supply chains, helping important goods reach communities and families each and every day. The Oakland Roots welcome New Mexico United in a battle in the top four of the Western Conference. Here's a look at the standings. New Mexico remains in first place, 7 points clear of Sacramento Republic for the top seed. Meanwhile, Oakland sits in fourth, which would earn them a home game in the quarterfinal round of the playoffs. Still much to be decided between now and then. Joined by Ricky Lopez, Espen, Mike Watts on hand. These sides met in May. It was quite an affair at the Lab in Albuquerque. What can that teach us from then to now? These teams have changed quite a bit.
I think you look at the player, the personnel is not going to change, but the tactical game is going to change massively. New Mexico United, they're completely different away from home, but they still have the quality. And yet for the Oakland Roots, they changed tactically, they changed personnel, but I do think Gavin Glinton's pressing all the right buttons at this moment in time to get the best out of their side, especially at home.
Hurst and Akale scoring for New Mexico. Oakland getting a goal from Hackshaw. Here's the wild thing, though. Since that meeting on May 11th, precisely the same record.
Incredible. I mean, you just look at everything going down this list. Clean sheets, 4 apiece. You talk about how good these sides have been defensively, and I think that's the building block for Gavin Glinton and Eric Quill, because then you concede, you get compact in the back, and you let your players high up the field be those game changers that they are.
Only Maria can find a stat this good. Now, Ricky, as it pertains to this Oakland team, all eyes on this group that has been up and down throughout the year. The warm-ups are presented by UCSF Benioff Children's Hospitals.
Johnny Rodriguez, 10 goals, 3 assists on the season. He's going to stay high, but his movement is what the difference is for the Oakland Roots. What does the service look like into him? And look for him to ask a lot of questions of this back line playing off of their shoulder.
Meanwhile, who catches your eye for this New Mexico United side that is very banged up?
I think it's Marco Micheletto, leader through and through, whether it's on the ball, whether it's off the ball. We might see him play a little bit deeper and be part of the build-up phase, but one thing that stays constant for Eric Quill, you want him on the ball, dictating tempo and winning those 50-50 duels.
Micheletto and New Mexico going to try and ruin the birthday celebration for Oakland here tonight. Gagi and the Roots celebrate 5 years to the day from their opening game in Niza. Now in the championship and having their best season yet. The Roots welcome New Mexico to Pioneer Stadium. The broadcast is presented by Prologis. The game is coming up next.
The only way to win is to do it together. That's why Anthem Blue Cross and Oakland Roots have teamed up. We are leading the charge to address food insecurity, empowering all athletes to improve physical health, and expanding the health and wellness resources available to the residents of Oakland and the Bay Area. We're committed to continuing our work to improve the lives and health of our community together. Visit oaklandroots.com/anthem to learn more.
Do you like getting cash back on your credit card? A free coffee when you fill your cafe's punch card? A complimentary dessert with your restaurant order? Then you'll like getting a 5% discount on your electricity with Ava Community Energy's Bright Choice service. Visit avaenergy.org to learn more about Ava's low rates for electricity.
You've earned this, so hold it up high. This isn't a hobby, it's a lifestyle. You find diamonds in the rust to put your own stamp on stock parts, turning metal into murals and detailing every detail. Because it's the things you make that show what you're made of. You are a fighter, and this is your reward. Modelo, the mark of a fighter.
Tonight's match is presented in part by Anthem Blue Cross and by Modelo. Pioneer Stadium in Oakland, joined by Ricky, Mike. Here's a look at the Oakland starting lineup under Gavin Glinton, and they've made some changes, not the least of which Hackshaw is back.
He's going to play in the back three between Logan, Gagi, and then you move up Gomez and Riley. How good can they be at dictating tempo? We might see Camden Riley drop into that middle third, so now you're expansive in nature, but it all comes down to that front three. Look for them to stretch this back line of New Mexico.
Meanwhile, for New Mexico United, try and figure this out. No Rivas, no Bailey, no Ryden, no Bruce. This is the 11.
But yet the quality does not drop for Eric Quill. Micheletto and Husu, look for them to really settle into this game. Akali will play number 10. Look for him to combine with the players around him. And Greg Hurst, how good can he be when he's on the ball to bring players in? And this back four, how compact can they be at keeping everything in front of them?
Great breakdown, Ricky. Here we go. New Mexico and Oakland. It's a battle in the top 4 of the championship's Western Conference. For Oakland to have any chance to catch the number 1 seed, they're going to have to do it here today. Even then, it'd still be a long and winding road to get there, one that would require New Mexico to miss the mark a few times along the way. The opening kickoff, here we go. From Pioneer Stadium, the Oakland Roots take on New Mexico United, and the Roots celebrate their 5-year anniversary today. Chip back by Gomez. Here's Riley. Stripped away from Reed. Able to wiggle away from Hosu. Reed crossing. Halftime, we'll rewind to that opening experience for this Oakland Roots side. 3 goals from Jack McInerney, August 31st of 2019. It's amazing to see how far the Roots have come, and it'll land all the way in the Coliseum next year, Ricky.
It's impressive as they continue to grow. The Oakland Roots, Evan Glinton especially, turning them around. Fantastic bit of form that they've been in over the last 5, 1 win, 1 loss, 2 draws. Really difficult to beat here at home.
Mexico wins the ball high up the field, although this beyond Reyes. There's Gagi. Certainly knew where the camera was pregame, didn't he? Let's take a look at the injury report. It's brought to you by UCSF Health. Harris and Nava out with season-ending injuries for New Mexico. Tamakis unavailable for selection for the Roots. But New Mexico's list of day-to-day, week-to-week players, it's a whole different animal, Ricky. Rivas, Bailey, Ryden, Bruce, they'd start on most any given day.
I know, if you're Eric Cole, the #1 message is just believe for your side, especially where you've been very good away from home. Won 7 times on the trot. How do you continue that momentum?
Reyes shown yellow.
Not what you want if you're Eric Quill. On the left-hand side already on the yellow card. I'll tell you what, it is a foul. You see yellow this early, maybe it's a kick away. That gets him in trouble.
And the referee telling Reyes early to calm down. He's gonna have to suffer with that yellow card the rest of the way. Riley. It was interesting talking to both coaches independent of one another. New Mexico said, we think we can win with ball domination, but we think we can win in transition too. We don't know that Oakland expects us to watch them have the ball early in the game. We talked to Gavin Glidden in Oakland an hour later, and he goes, it's important that we string the first 3 passes together and take the sting out of the game through possession. It seems like the 2 game plans essentially mirror one another.
Now we see this New Mexico United side have all 11 players behind the ball and be a little bit more pragmatic.
Ball tipped back away from Johnny Rodriguez. Player goes down, play on. Flicked along by Flanagan. And the whistle's gone, it belongs to New Mexico.
Really big responsibility for Hosu and Micheletto, the 2 players in the central locations for Eric Quill. We've seen Micheletto play a bit higher. Now he's playing next to that double pivot. So how good can they be at taking the sting away from the Oakland Roots, winning their 50-50 duels, and their balance is going to be everything defensively for the visiting side.
Hosu. Tim Bacchus. That ball given away awkwardly to Reed. Reed knocked down in the area. Referee had a long look. Riley tips it back, and New Mexico, for the moment, able to manage through the error. Few goalkeepers in league history can accumulate stats the way Alex Tembakis has, going back to his time in Charleston in North Carolina. Been the guy for New Mexico from the beginning. 6th year for this club. Well done, Mohammed. Drifting inside. Osu in over the top, snagged by Blanchett.
New Mexico will find success when they're clean, when playing out of the back.
The way Blanchett fell, that looked really awkward from afar. Injury timeout brought to you by Anthem Blue Cross. Anthem is transforming healthcare by improving the health of our local communities.
I think Paul Blanchett is giving our center referee the shun beard. An earful saying that Reyes made a little bit of contact.
Yeah, he's got a mark, if I'm seeing that right. Well, that's the opportunity cost for Blanchett coming out to retrieve that.
Seven minutes in, you just see how comfortable New Mexico is on the ball. So if you do have the ability to break that initial line of pressure, now you can find Akale, Flanagan, and Reyes in between the half spaces underneath Greg Hurst. And if you're the Oakland Roots, if you do elect to press high, how compact can you be in structure? Gomez and Camden Riley need to be a little bit more connected.
Again, the Roots' pressure continues to billow out, and they've won it high. Riley, as soon as they bring those numbers forward, New Mexico win it back. Mohammed, and now Flanagan. Mohammed runs the inside channel. Now and later, found it on the other side, and Flanagan watches this, prodded out by Rasmussen.
And this is the plan for New Mexico. You bait them in, and that's when you can play a little bit more direct with Flanagan and Mohammed on this near side. Both players have a very good understanding of the movements. As one comes central, the other one provides the width. Really ask a lot of questions of the Oakland Roots in terms of their balance.
Corner for Akale. Mentioned they'll try him in the 10 today with all the players missing. Former US Youth International. Hangs the cross, backside, header looping, out of play. I cannot believe Mohammed. This stat blows my mind. 2 years in MLS Next Pro, 2 years in USL League One. The last 4 years, he has reached the final each season in his respective league.
It's just impressive.
Crazy.
Impressive. Had the ability to speak with Eric Quill about him and just raved about how professional he is on the ball, off the ball, on the field, off the field. The work rate that he has, the ability to run for days. It's been a fantastic signing for New Mexico.
15th start for the former second-round pick of NYCFC.
Just no real no limit for Mohammed and what he can do.
That wasn't the plan for Diaz. And a reminder, don't miss out on the final home stretch of games as we close out the season and the playoff push. Pick up one of the discounted ticket packages, whether you want food and beverage included for one game or you're looking to go to multiple games. Secure your tickets now. Visit oaklandrootssc.com/tickets or call 510-488-1144. You can join the chorus and the band hard at work again for this 3 o'clock local kickoff. Hayward. Ten minutes gone. Oakland 4 unbeaten, New Mexico 4 unbeaten. Flanagan. Skims through, Seymour circulates back. He was in doubt coming into the game. He goes from the jump tonight. A few players in some different positions here for New Mexico. It's not like you can go out and order more when 4 guys go down in one game between red card, concussion, handful of lower body injuries in a short amount of time. The offside flag raised here.
To see the quality of Greg Hurst and that little action as he comes into feet, has the ability to bring players into the game and requires so much attention. Eric Quill spoke extremely highly of a faithful forward. Greg Hurst's ability to create on his own, but also has a very good feel of the movements in and around him. 9 goals, 1 assist on this season. He's going to be a focal point for New Mexico throughout this match.
Rodriguez. It's a familiar sight down the right side. Memo Diaz. Riley. Logue. Kind bounce by Rasmussen.
He plays such an interesting role for the Oakland Roots. Last time out against Memphis, we saw him play central in terms of the rotations that Gavin Clinton wants to implement. Drop into your line of 3, so now you afford your wing backs to be more expansive in nature. And the outside backs plays that single pivot. I haven't seen the same sort of tactical awareness from Rasmussen.
Hurst powering forward for New Mexico. Finally cut off, it's out to Flanagan, return to Hurst, he's knocked off, Gagi sends it away.
Fantastic recovery run from Camden Riley, over 50 yards.
And Reed running 50 yards the other direction. Cuts inside, Reed tried to sneak it through. Ricocheted back to him, high for Gomez, spins to Rodriguez, now Riley. Hackshaw scored in the last meeting between these teams back on May the 11th, through for him, intercepted.
About the second time now in about a matter of 2 minutes, Mike, that Trayvon Reed does very well to get himself in a dangerous opportunity, but just that last bit of quality has been lacking. First time it's a run for Camden Riley, now it's Hackshaw. Be able to connect that pass, you put more pressure on this back line for New Mexico.
Muhammad. Akale pulls the strings, lofts it over the top. Spun away by Diaz. Here's Gagi. No whistle. They allow this to play through Njai. Soaring down the right sideline. Rasmussen Rodriguez still down behind the play. And the stoppage now.
Two really interesting strikers on the field here today. Johnny Rodriguez and Greg Hurst, very similar in the way that they can play that build-up as he comes in. Maples, bit of a clip on the heels, it seems like. Sean Beard did signal for advantage being played. Hopefully he's okay to continue on. Johnny Rodriguez is such a special player, and he got it like that.
And he's really got it the last 2 years. The first 2 seasons in Oakland in the championship, only 4 goals. A dozen last season, and now 10 this year for a player who's really emblematic of the Oakland attack at its best. It's creative, it's a simple willingness to find a way. It's not always the simplest path, yet Rodriguez and the Roots typically tend to find it by the time they're done.
It's been so interesting because you and I, Mike, we have the ability to speak with every single coach in the USL Championship, and he's been a talking point through and through. One of, if not the most underrated striker in all the championship. He's been compared to the movement of Luis Suarez, just how he's very clever, tenacious in his work rate as well. He's been matured over the last couple of years for the Oakland Roots into a complete forward.
Is that a Suarez reference?
That's what I've been told.
Wow. All facts. Gavin Glidden has a few words here. Look over back on April the 28th. th minute, New Mexico can make yet another statement, truthfully. Best season in club history, and it doesn't seem particularly close at this point. And their preseason mantra, goal of a #1 seed and allowing the fans to wreak havoc at the Lab in the playoffs very much remains on go. Outside from Akale, he gets the return. Pumps in on Njai. Akale goes down. Long look from the Beard, the referee, of course. And slid out. That's a goal kick.
And it's an interesting tactical change for Eric Quill, excuse me. Now you have Akale to play centrally in very comfortable and tight spaces, technically sound. So if you are one of this back three for the Oakland Roots, have to be very clever when you step in, what type of challenges you decide to go into.
Blanchette puts it in play. The Oakland Roots announced the team is set to play the 2025 championship season in the historic Oakland Coliseum. You can place deposits now for as little as $5.10. Visit OaklandRootsSC.com today and learn more. Make your deposit. They've started to show what the field's actually going to look like in terms of its layout. Super excited to see how the fans in Oakland respond to that. I just hope they open Mount Davis, the massive addition they made a couple decades back for the Raiders. So I'd like to think if the Roots are able to put a number of fans up there, it gives you certainly the high midfield view so many people prefer for the beautiful game. Maybe we can rename it too. Anywho, ball through, Flanagan, pinballs around, Rasmussen got there, and this flies out of play.
Fantastic bit of play from the visiting side. As his ball comes in, Marco Michelotto does not even need to peek over his left shoulder because he knows Avion Flanagan's making that run. Rasmussen does really well to stay like for like with the winger. Not an easy task with the pace that he possesses.
Flanagan hobbles that off. There's Akale. bounces off the training ground. They didn't have that in mind. Gloucester, back post, snap back in, there's Blanchette. And an injured Root. New Mexico, the team that went through the epidemic of injury last time out. Ended up being a 1-0 win at Colorado Springs, but certainly paid a hefty price. There's the contact and the awkward fall at the end.
Seems to be an awkward coming together between Gloucester and Nenjai. Goes down at will. Good to see him back on his own power.
Seventh all-time meeting between these two, Oakland and New Mexico. And a reminder that the first tiebreaker, and there's certainly a significant gap between the teams now, it's become head-to-head as it pertains to the playoffs. Mexico taking the first meeting back in May. Logue, Hackshaw.
It's a perfect picture of what we've seen from New Mexico. About top of the circle with their press, and when it plays negative, that's when they're going to be triggered to step a little bit higher. Neil Caruso not really finding a way to break through at this moment in time. He just needs to be more quicker and decisive in your decision making, moving the ball from left to right and playing a little bit more direct. We have not seen enough of Johnny Rodriguez near the attacking goal.
It's a blessing and a curse, right? The beautiful and the damned. You have the ball against this New Mexico team and you want to take the sting out of it. Gavin Glinton said it's the first 3 passes, but as soon as you string those together, it doesn't mean New Mexico fades backwards. They just wait for those triggers, and then few teams hit them as aggressively as New Mexico does.
100%, a team that's only conceded 31 times in 2024. So it tells you they know exactly who they want to be off the ball as well. So as the team sits a little bit deeper now, the movement ahead of the ball becomes that much more important. We need to see a little bit more from Johnny Rodriguez, whether just coming to feet and pulling one of the 2 center backs out, and that's when you're asking for a secondary movement. Watch out here.
Well, Micheletto did enough. Got a little bit hairy. New Mexico's going to play like New Mexico. They don't really care where they are or who they're playing. Good switch, Muhammad. Swings this back, ball knocked down, struck from distance, and that's mishit. Not the best work from Micheletto.
Like you said, Mike, whether it's the East Coast or the West Coast, stay true to their identity. This New Mexico side, it starts with Marco Micheletto, but it's just the patience, the understanding. There's numbers ahead of the game. Greg Hurst does really well to understand as Gaki's going to come in. Now there's a free player into Marco Micheletto, and like you said, not the best of contacts from that player. Really good action from the visiting side.
Flanagan. Reyes. Hurst. Directly at Blanchette. A little more air under that. Would have been a real danger, alas.
Starting to find the game little by little, Greg Hurst is. Obviously does really well to win the initial ball. But yet again, Gomez and Camden Riley getting caught on the same side of the field. So now that affords New Mexico to operate and create overloads, Reyes comes centrally, Greg Hurst peels off the left-hand side. Easy save in the end for Paul Blanchette.
Driven long. Reed, sidestep, Seymour. The way that hung on the turf made it a little more difficult than it initially appeared it would be. Rasmussen, now Gomez. This will come back, it'll belong to the Roots. haircut like that, Rasmussen showed up. Ready to roll tonight. What's with the epidemic of bleaching going on, hair-wise? I'm baffled.
You're next?
No chance.
I can see it.
Nothing says I want to rock quite like rolling in with bleach blonde hair. Hurst has it going too.
Me, myself, and I did it once.
Yeah. Njai got over Riley, who was waiting, and billows out over the bar. Another set piece to defend here for New Mexico. Fourth year with the Roots for Memo Diaz, coming off a career year. Ball headed down at the line and kept out. Tempakis swatting at that, and it is cleared beyond the halfway line. A monumental amount of traffic in front of goal. Lanchette powers it long. Here's Micheletto. Best chance for the Roots yet. Cross field from Nanan Hosu.
Good
Good
step.
read, Gagi. They give a lot of freedom to Gagi, Hackshaw, Logue to make those steps as they see fit and know that they'll have support behind.
And it's a trust for Gavin Clinton with the experienced players. And time after time, more times often than not, they do it at the right time. Augie, Hackshaw, and Logue very comfortable with the ball at their feet as well. Just need to be a little bit cleaner, because if you do win that ball, your first pass needs to be forward, because if you can unbalance New Mexico.
Loud and proud, this Roots fan base. 5 years of Roots soccer, trying to have another reason to celebrate here today against the top team in the West. This will run out. How about the moment we had for Oakland about a minute and a half ago?
It's a fantastic ball in from Memo Diaz, and it's Njai. Do I think he just mishits it, unable to see the ball really late. Free header, 4 yards out, just mistimes it whatsoever. Bacchus does really well, to be fair, to recover, not let it go over his goal line.
Fully focused as that came off the bar and back to him. Would expect nothing less from a league legend. Big time collision. Kagi and Reyes clash. They make peace after.
It's a nice little battle that we've had on that far side. This touch right here from Reyes, really quick.
Hello.
Gagi just gets caught.
Half an hour gone in Northern California. Pinged along, Blanchette. Let's tell you, the USL Championship continues on ESPN Networks in September. Western Conference matchup teams fighting to stay in playoff contention. Last season's champ, Phoenix, hosting FC Tulsa Friday, September 6th, 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific on ESPN2.
Yet again, Mike, Johnny Rodriguez does very well to drop in into the middle part to be part of the build-out, and now that's when Trayvon Reed has the ability to push a line higher, but just not clean enough from the Jamaican. Memo Diaz makes a fantastic ball. That's a great ball as well.
Reyes is there! Blanchette slides over and knocks it out of play. Excellent ball right into the path of Jacobo Reyes, and Blanchette a save to keep it scoreless.
Just so much quality this New Mexico side has, playing in between lines, the overload centrally, so now you afford the players off the ball to play between Hackshaw and Gagi. Reyes has really clever movement, tries to squeak it into that near post. Blanchette pushes it wide. Good action on both sides.
Marco Micheletto was the first major target for Aaron Quill when he took over the club. Micheletto sends to the backside. Skipped away from Hosu. They'll try on the other end. Logue, the defensive header.
Straight off the training ground from the visiting side. Everyone makes the run towards that near post, hoping to free up Hosu on this far end.
Mikale off this near corner. 3 goals, 3 assists. Kale. Top of Muhammad, that's a throw. Nothing on target yet, although ball bounced off the post from Oakland about 5 minutes ago. Best chance thus far, by far, for New Mexico came about a moment ago. Clever move, didn't play out. Hurst. And picked up by Reed.
A moment of time, Trayvon Reed just running wild a little bit. Put your foot on the ball, contain possession. It's a 2v1. No need to give the ball that cheaply.
Minute. Mexico back to what you knew. Possessing in the back through the thirds. Nakale cleaned off the ball. High to Rodriguez. Njai didn't have support out the left. Tried to leap out of the way of a coming tackle. Gloucester flies away into the central part of the park. Hosu over, angling, still looking for a window. It's off the mark from Hurst.
You've seen New Mexico be their best when they change a point of attack extremely quick, and then it's just a movement off the ball. Gloucester does really well to beat Memo Diaz, but the key is to contain possession yet again and decision-making centrally. Whether it is Greg Hurst, Hosu does really well yet again. able to get his hips around to Greg Hurst to put it back on target. But it's a movement in central locations for Eric Quill, whether it's Marco Micheletto, Hosu, or Kale, have a very good feel how to play in between the lines and really test the shape of the Oakland Roots.
10 minutes left in the first half. Lively game between New Mexico and Oakland. Njai. Caught from behind, Hosu got a piece, still it's Njai. That is gonna sit right at the line.
It's a really good ball as well from Hosu. 36 minutes, he's put in a fantastic shift for Eric Quill.
15th start of the season. Got to know him best at Loudoun early in his championship career. And he's the guy down now. Ivorian holding midfielder just covers so much ground. Is that has the referee running over toward the bench. Apparently he seems satisfied. Good chance for everybody to catch a breath and for us to tell you USL League One matchup kicks off September coverage. On CBS Sports Network, the Players Shield holder Union Omaha take on newcomer Spokane Velocity. First ever regular season meeting, September 4th, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific on CBS Sports Network. Of course, Eric Quill coming out of the USL League One stratosphere and doing so with an epic double performance leading North Texas in 2019. 75 matches leading the FC Dallas affiliate. And in talking with him, so much of this roster, you can project all you want, but you bring enough players out of the third division, maybe you get it right, maybe you don't. Not everything translates. This New Mexico team, they really haven't missed at all.
Just fantastic what he's been able to do in the offseason to bring in the right players, but also the right people to understand that he's going to mold his side the way that they want to play, and players bought into it. Fantastic stuff from top to bottom from New Mexico.
Rasmussen, backside header drops, Diaz denied. Skitters back out, Gomez watches this over the line. I think Quill, pretty much everyone watches League One, I'll tell you, League One is some kind of drug. If you haven't experienced it yet, you probably want to pay attention at the end of the year. Always a little bit chaotic. Rasmussen. Banged it off Muhammad. Njai circulates out to Riley. They'll try the width again.
Better positioning there from Gloucester. Moments ago, he got caught a little bit too narrow. That's when you saw the chance from Memo Diaz. But as this ball goes wide, now this back line needs to shift over. Seymour and Maples need to be able to pick up a man. And that's when you can let the weak side, outside back, drop in and provide the coverage.
Muhammad, who's been that weak side outside back of late. Rasmussen, overcooked for Njai, but that's going to find the backside. Diaz, Njai lets it through. Rodriguez. Masoud did well to win that foul. Njai helping him up. These things happen.
And that's the threat that you have when you play with wing backs. The striker of Njai comes centrally, and now you afford Memo Diaz to come around the corner and create an overload. If you're Gloucester, you have to have the ability to communicate with Reyes and drop him back to do his defensive duties. He comes in a little bit late. Osu does really well yet again to cover so much ground to put out the fire.
This time it's Reyes getting the wrong end of it. Hops up, everything will be okay. Had the best chance of the half. Breakaway about 10 minutes ago. Sent too far. You and I were chatting in the lead up to this game. I think a lot of credit belongs to New Mexico in the change that they made. Zach Prince leaves to join Troy Lesane at Red Bull. They end up at DC United this year, and it's been fun watching them. They led this New Mexico franchise in some combination the first 5 years or so of its existence. And they had a lot of success, and yet at times you were wanting more. And so to make a stylistic change the way they did, bring in a guy that came from outside the building in Eric Quill, serial winner, it took some guts. And you have to give Peter Trevisani and the New Mexico ownership a lot of credit for taking that risk. It's ultimately paid off really handsomely this year. It's still not the biggest budget in the league. They found a lot of diamonds in the rough, but Eric Quill's always been great at that. This has been a real joy to watch New Mexico stride at the level that I think everyone has wanted to see from Albuquerque to the rest of the league since they arrived.
That's exactly what we were mentioning as well. Every time when New Mexico would walk all over the white line, you would expect a good performance, but now he's taking the level to a little bit of a higher bar. Top class in what they've been able to do on both sides of the ball. They're true to their identity, and they're flexible, Mike. They can win games without the ball. They can win games with the ball, and that's something that Eric Quill mentioned on our phone call as well, saying this team is built to win games in all different types of ways, whether transitional, whether it's being possession-based. And there's a reason why they're sitting at the top of the Western Conference here in the USL Championship.
Now, these are two of the very best stories in the league this year. There's some teams near the top where you go, well, that tracks. That was expectation. Sacramento, Louisville, Tampa Bay, Charleston. And there's some of these teams like this Oakland side near its best high water mark at any point in their championship history. This New Mexico team appears poised to run away with the West if they can handle the next 4 games, this endless summer of soccer. They may well, in essence, lock up the 1 seed. Look down the road for them. They host Miami. I feel really optimistic that they'll take 3 points there. You'll go to Detroit, and then September 18th, you'll host Sacramento. You can't win the West on that day, but if you win that 6-point game with Sacramento and handle your business the next 2, you're going to be minimum 10 points up with 6 to go. You're probably going to watch the entire Western playoff go through the lab in November.
Agreed. I mean, a perfect example of what we talked about, how difficult it is, what Eric Quill's been able to do in New Mexico. Look at Miami FC. You bring in a new head coach, you bring in a ton of new players, and unable to get it right, but this side has done that and more. As you see, Avion Flanagan pick up a yellow card.
Second yellow, both to New Mexico. Reyes got one earlier. And look, for Quill in New Mexico, the ability to do everything is everything. Whether it's transition, possession, counter-pressing, this group has a ton of different gears this year. That's what makes them so difficult to beat.
Fully really focused on who they want to be and staying true to their identity.
Added minutes.
Just see Hackshaw a bit frustrated. There's no real options ahead of the ball. Camden Riley and Gomez unable to find the right amount of spacing in between the two. You want one of them to pop in a little bit deeper to play that support system so you can just bounce the ball off of them. And that's when you're asking the secondary midfielder to play off the shoulder. Marco Micheletto and Hosu, they've been really easy. You see Sean Beard to settle things down. And the boys to calm down here as we approach halftime.
Flanagan trots it off. Ball back in play, and Select is the official match ball supplier of the USL Championship. Many elite leagues throughout Europe. Visit us.select-sport.com. The latest Select product specials and more. Select, the player's choice. Running out of room.
But it's the type of action that I'm talking about. If you play with a double pivot, you want one of them to have the freedom to join the attack. The good life of Marco Micheletto does really well as he continues his run. Unable to pull it off in terms of the action, but his quality has been fantastic. Nice little relationship between him and Hosu in the center of the park.
Away from Hurst. This gets out of play. Was it deflected on the way? It was. It is a corner for New Mexico. The referee saying, no, I mean it. It's a corner. There's nothing more there. Over the objection of Hurst. Micheletto. Micheletto. Whistle had already blown as Gloucester saw that float down, but an illicit push in front of him. By the way, stick around at halftime. The top 5 being counted down all week in honor of the 5th anniversary game for Oakland. Show you some of the best moments in Roots history. So many of them when it's dark out. Night games at Laney, now at Pioneer Stadium. It'll be a really cool retrospective, this Oakland team. What was the opening concert? I think they had a concert at the opening game for the Roots. Spoke with Jordan Farrell in the past, and he's like, it's like a block party for all of Oakland. Those night games in the early going in Nisa and when they first came into the championship. It looks like they've got their long-term home figured out now, but for a while it's been a bit of a vagabond existence for the Roots. It appears to be in the rear view now. Rasmussen drops this in. Gomez, that catches a hand. Why use one whistle when you could use 2? The referee could very easily send this to halftime. over the top for Reed. Reed's gonna get there. And now the whistle goes. Here's Reed, outrun the back line. Seymour tells everyone he had it under control.
Well, yet the Oakland Roots have shown their best when they have the runs from outside coming in, whether it is from Reed or Anjai. Playing off the shoulder between Seymour and Maples. When you drop your shoulder, that's when you get in trouble, and that's exactly what Trayvon Reed does.
It was a minimum of 4. We go an extra 5.5 minutes, and the referee has had enough. On to halftime, scoreless at the intermission, Ricky.
I think it's been good. It's been a good battle between both managers trying to impose their will in terms of the tactical approach to this game. That man needs to be a little bit more involved in the build-out phase, but also in the final third. That's where the Oakland Roots have been struggling. And for New Mexico, I do think if you're Eric Quill, you're probably the happier of the two managers, all to play for in this next 45.
Coming up at halftime, the top 5 retrospective as we continue to honor Oakland's 5th year anniversary. New Mexico proving precisely the high caliber opponent that the Roots anticipated. Scoreless at the break on the West Coast.
Oakland Roots Sports Club is back, and it's never been easier to get in the game. Season membership packages and single tickets start at just $25. Join us now at oaklandrootssc.com.
You've earned this, so hold it up high. It's your job to stock the city, restaurants and rooftops, bars and basements. Every corner store. And when it gets tough, you stay driven. Give it all you got, going nonstop for 20 stops. Because at the end of the day, every single round is on you. You are a fighter, and this is your reward. Modelo, the mark of a fighter.
How can someone so cute be so complicated? Someone so grown up still have so much growing left to do. We know kids aren't many adults. Their still developing bodies and minds need specialized care, including physicians and care teams who focus on treating kids, and only kids, which is why, from everyday to emergencies, kids belong at UCSF Benioff Children's Hospitals.
Oakland Roots Sports Club is back, and it's never been easier to get in the game. Season membership packages and single tickets start at just $25. Join us now at oaklandrootssc.com.
Cause I'm really from Oakland now. 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 Cause I'm really from Oakland.
What is a sports team anyway? It's part of the fabric. Part of what makes us, us. It's where we come together to celebrate the best of who we are. It's how we tell our own story and not how others define us. It's jobs, opportunity, a stage, a dream. So why shouldn't you own it?
All day long.
Watch us hit this ugly piñata. Dad!
When Hornets show up, so do we. Terminix it.
This is the beginning. This is a first practice, a first video session, a first pregame talk. This is a first ticket, a first scarf raise, a first kickoff. This is a tapestry of clubs and players and communities inspired by those who blazed the trail for women's sports, ready to inspire the next generation. We are the USL Super League. We're part of a movement, and this is our moment.
We all have goals. But let's be honest. Most of us aren't going to be professional athletes. But if your goal is to finish your degree, we can help. Come to a university that puts your goals first. Bellevue University, your partner in finishing goals.
The numbers are brilliant here for Phoenix. Can they find their second right here?
Drops it to Lasso. Lasso gives it a go. What is the Lasso?
When mosquitoes show up, so do we. Terminix it.
Let's give you news and notes around the USL Championship and beyond. Nick Marcanic on the move. He's only one goal from the single-season league record. He is headed to Castellón in La Liga 2. Congrats to him.
Fantastic stuff and just also tells you about the growth of USL Championship, sending players overseas, making an impact at a domestic level, and then the world is for bigger good. The Marhan US Open Cup in the 11, they fall to Sporting Kansas City, but hats off to Sean McCauley and what they've been able to do and accomplish in Indy 11.
And hats off to Bob Lilly, the GOAT. 400 wins in his club coaching career after a 3-0 win over Birmingham last week. Meanwhile, look at the out-of-town scores brought to you by Visit Oakland. Get out on the town and visit Oakland to explore arts, culture, and world-class cuisine. These are scores from last week. El Paso and Monterey Bay both needed a win. They both came up empty. Oakland gets a resilient performance against Memphis. Las Vegas against an undermanned Indy team wins 3-2. Switchbacks get a vital win over Memphis on Wednesday night after a disappointing draw against Oakland. Phoenix and North Carolina, a scoreless draw in Sacramento, a vital 3 points.
Mark Briggs and company needed that win massively at home. They take the 3 points against Alan Marcian at San Antonio, who's been struggling through this 2024 campaign.
Meanwhile, we revisit Oakland, the Roots, and New Mexico. Scoreless at halftime at Pioneer Stadium. A chance in the top 4 to make some noise as we head into September. Scoreless. Highlights, second half coming up.
Oakland Roots Sports Club is back, and it's never been easier to get in the game. Season membership packages and single tickets start at just $25. Join us now at oaklandrootssc.com.
The only way to win is to do it together. That's why Anthem Blue Cross and Oakland Roots have teamed up. We are leading the charge to address food insecurity, empowering all athletes to improve physical health, and expanding the health and wellness resources available to the residents of Oakland and the Bay Area. We're committed to continuing our work to improve the lives and health of our community together. Visit oaklandroots.com/anthem to learn more.
Do you like getting cash back on your credit card? A free coffee when you fill your cafe's punch card? A complimentary dessert with your restaurant order? Then you'll like getting a 5% discount on your electricity with Ava Community Energy's Bright Choice service. Visit avaenergy.org to learn more about Ava's low rates for electricity.
You've earned this, so hold it up high. This isn't a hobby, it's a lifestyle. You find diamonds in the rust. You put your own stamp on stock parts, turning metal into murals, and detailing every detail. Because it's the things you make that show what you're made of. You are a fighter, and this is your reward. Modelo, the mark of a fighter.
Oakland Roots Sports Club is back, and it's never been easier to get in the game. Season membership packages and single tickets start at just $25. Join us now at oaklandrootssc.com.
You've earned this, so hold it up high. It's your job to stock the city, restaurants and rooftops, bars and basements. Every corner store. And when it gets tough, you stay driven. Give it all you got, going nonstop for 20 stops. Because at the end of the day, every single round is on you. You are a fighter, and this is your reward. Modelo, the mark of a fighter.
How can someone so cute be so complicated? Someone so grown up still have so much growing left to do. We know kids aren't many adults. Their still developing bodies and minds need specialized care, including physicians and care teams who focus on treating kids and only kids, which is why from everyday to emergencies, kids belong at UCSF Benioff Children's Hospitals.
Tonight's match is presented in part by Anthem Blue Cross and by Modelo. Let's take a look at the first half highlights between Oakland and New Mexico. This is a New Mexico team that was committed to allowing Oakland a little more of the ball, but when they did have it, very dangerous.
Really good at understanding. We changed the point of attack and then come back centrally. Now we afforded two players, whether it's Micheletto, whether it's Hosu, to join the attack from a deep blank position. But the only problem for New Mexico is they just weren't clean enough. The best opportunity of the game by far. Fantastic ball in from Memo Diaz and Njai. Free header from 6 yards out, unable to get clean contact, but as it pops off the post, then Bacchus is caught scrambling. And yet again, I do think Hosu was fantastic. Look how quickly he steps up into your picture. He beats Camden Riley as he continues his ball. Now he draws in Gagi, and that affords Greg Hurst to create a little bit of separation, but unable to get his hips around it and put it on target.
Greg Hurst still looking for the opener with this New Mexico side. Best chance came from Reyes, and that ball off the post from Oakland that gave them optimism that they would walk away with the opening goal. Teams retake the field now. Now, if you're New Mexico, you're just trying to stretch your lead for the #1 seed. If you're anywhere from Oakland down, 4th down, the Western Conference is an utter freak show right now. Everything's bunched together right at the playoff line. You have 3 great games. You could assure yourself a home playoff game, in essence, with a decent performance at the end of the year. You have 3 bad games, and you might find yourself on the outside looking in with half a dozen games to go.
It's exactly what you want in the USL Championship. If you're neutral, if you're a fan, you want competitive games so deep into the season. If you're the Oakland Roots, big half coming up of football, you need to pick up all these points, especially when you're at home where you've been so good as of late.
Nation Beard ready to send us into the second half of play. And here we go. New Mexico gets the first touch. That was a great retrospective at halftime, wasn't it? The top 5, the G-Eazy Symphonic Concert. They're actually going to reopen another round of investment. That was the biggest community investment in the history of U.S. professional sports a few years ago, and they're preparing to open that back up this coming year. You and I were discussing with some members of the Oakland staff what's the biggest game or the biggest win in Oakland history, and is it the first time you beat Sacramento and really say, hey, we're here, although it's been a lot of draws since. Is it playoff wins? This one probably won't reach that pinnacle given its regular season, late August nature, but even though Gavin Glinton said I'm not looking at this as a measuring stick or a potential playoff setup for the end of the year, if this were to finish 1-4, could very easily be a Western Conference semifinal. It's possible Oakland may say at the end of the year that a win against New Mexico was their best. Long ball driven off the head of Gloucester. That hit another head on the way out.
It's 2 minutes in, but now you can see the tactical awareness of Gavin Glinton. Hackshaw's going to play into the center location when they're in possession. So now you afford Daniel Gomez and Camden Riley to push a line higher, to create a little bit of an overload. So now if you are New Mexico, especially Marco Michelotto and Hosu, how good can you be at understanding your spacing? You do not want to get caught a little bit too high on both sides of the ball. We saw this Oakland Roots side do something very similar against Memphis out of 1.
All levied off. Diaz through the middle. That will soar back. You made reference to that in our chat with Coach a couple days ago as well, that movement.
And it's really clever, and it's because you afford a different look going forward, and now you get your outside backs high and wide. So we're going to see Trayvon Reed and Njai pin back Gloucester and Muhammad, and now you have Rasmussen coming centrally. So there's a lot of rotations. And the way that you're going to defeat that now, if you're New Mexico, get every single player into their structure, and you cannot be going and chasing the game. You need to continue to stay compact and keep your lines tight.
Helen Maples, that slips beyond Gloucester. And the fun part of this Oakland team, and even Eric Quill made reference to it when I asked him about it, you don't really know just because you get the lineup sheet where everybody's going to play. There's so much versatility. And so it seems like the lineup is ever changing. They can rotate in different positions. That is tough for Hosu. Oof. Time to find out just how washboard those abs really are.
Those minute planks coming in right now.
Injury timeout brought to you by Anthem Blue Cross. Anthem transforming healthcare by improving the health of our local communities. Injury timeout concludes. Njai. Drops in, served. Rodriguez, long way to go. There's Stembakis.
That's a fantastic ball in for Rasmussen. Really difficult for Johnny Rodriguez to get on the end of it, but that's the right idea to hit it first time, because it's a nightmare to defend if you're Maples or Seymour. You're facing towards your own goal. Any mistake, it's an uh-oh moment.
Gambakis floats into the stands. This guy's almost famous. From Rasmussen. You could hear the shout from the sideline. If this is a Potential transition moment. Ooh, yellow's gone the other way here. May well be for dissent.
I think it's just for that.
They have given it to Gomez.
I think it's for the handball for Gomez once he goes down. Did not have a transitional moment. That's exactly what we heard from the bench from New Mexico. We can't go quick. He needs to be in the book.
Meandering over, must be nice. Nicoletto's got it where he wants it. Ball through Flanagan. Held off by Logue. They isolate, a little bit of help. Reed broke it loose. Nicoletto try to get to the other end. Logue will put this in the bushes. And an injured player for New Mexico down behind the play. That's Reyes. A ton of minutes for Monterrey within their second team. Played with the U.S. under-17s at the 2017 under-17 World Cup. Get all that? Before that, the Mexican under-15s. Matriculated out of the University of Portland and saying he got hit in the head. Neither team has used any subs yet. That doesn't negate the fact that if he does in fact have an issue here, Mexico would be able to use that concussion substitute. And thumbs up would lead you to believe he'll be all right. Mentioned it in the first half, Rivas, Bailey, Ryden, and Bruce all unavailable. So it's a thin bench.
A random play between Reyes and Niall Logue.
Reality is, at the forward position, in terms of guys that have extended professional minutes, really only have Abu Dunladi available for New Mexico. Little dust up here. Rodriguez saying, stand by me. Players getting pulled back. Hackshaw is saying, I'm wearing the armband, let me handle this. Rodriguez starting to have some words with the official now. Guys chirping at will in the second half. Well, now we'll play. But first, we'll tell you, if you're looking for a great way to enjoy a night out with friends, family, or coworkers, check out discounted group ticketing options. For your next birthday or party, secure yours. Visit oaklandrootssc.com/tickets. Call 510-488-1144. Certainly plenty bought tickets to celebrate Oakland Roots' birthday today. Purpose-driven club, started in Nisa, worked their way into the championship. That's a tough collision. Gloucester into Diaz. That's going to come with a yellow card. So now Reyes, Flanagan, and Gloucester playing on caution.
We talked about the tactical change from the Oakland Roots because now Memo Diaz is central, and you have Enjai making the run. So Gloucester, he cannot leave early. Once he understands there is rotation through his backside, that's when he can release. He's just a bit too late. Takes out Memo Diaz and affords the Oakland Roots a really interesting set piece here as Enjai and Memo Diaz are over it.
Enjai. Oh, a high boot. There's nothing malicious in that. It doesn't mean that Rodriguez won't receive a yellow for a dangerous play. Rodriguez coming off a knock last week, came off the bench in that game, goes from the jump today.
No ill will here from Johnny Rodriguez. He doesn't see Davion Flanagan that comes through, but it is a high boot.
And no one has more desire to go for glory with the ridiculous goal than Johnny Rodriguez. Surely thinking, Flanagan, when you're gone, I'm getting on a bike and going for it. All the way back to Blanchette. By the way, Ricky and I have been involved today in a little gift. 5th birthday present of sorts. This comes over to Enjai. Enjai slips by Gloucester. He's all the way through now. He's knocked off his foot, a corner. We'll get to that present in a moment.
Really well done from Enjai. Because as he continues his run, it's just the body feints that are sending Gloucester and Maples a bit confused. Doesn't really touch the ball. Just he does it at pace, he does it with power. Little drop of the right shoulder, stays essentially right here. Now you cause a little bit of confusion yet again. Good recovery run. Mosu has been all over the place in that defensive position for Eric Quilt.
Diaz. Speared away. Now the breakout could be on. Not a lot of support. Akale is going by his lonesome. And a convoy of Roots ultimately give the foul. And now there's going to be even more discussion to it. It's interesting there, right? Because you might go, he's in transition, it's a tactical foul. There is no one wearing a yellow shirt within 15 yards in terms of adding to that attack, and you've got so much support around him. He's arguing that should be a yellow. I see both sides of that argument.
I don't think it should be a yellow, but it's really well done from Akale. Because if you are Eric Quill, you're looking for a foul to slow the game down, to gain some real estate higher up in the field. And if you're Gavin Glinton, you're frustrated. You have 4 players around the ball. There's no need to dive in to make a rash challenge like that.
To go back, by the way, to that gift. The opening game, there was a concert from part owner of the Roots, G-Eazy, that I know you're a big fan.
Massive.
Was one of the landmark occasions in the history of the franchise. So if you've heard a lot of random words throughout this game, they aren't so random. There were 40 song titles and album titles from G-Eazy that have been snuck into this game, variable moments throughout. And that's our gift to the Roots community. Congrats on 5 years.
Happy birthday, Oakland Roots.
Reyes. I just know you hope he sees it.
Oh, 100%.
Ooh, Akale. So when I say that was an almost famous moment from Akale, now you get it. Njai.
It's too long. Not once, but twice from Njai. You have Johnny Rodriguez making a fantastic run out of the center part of the back line. You bypass that look, and now Ivan Reed makes a secondary run. Just needs to be a little bit cleaner, more decisive from Njai in that instance.
Well, now New Mexico might be able to make something of this. Ball comes high. Offered, stabbed through. Seymour settles. Hurst back heel and met by Hackshaw. By the way, for the 10-year anniversary, we're doing Green Day. I'm sure you know that. This is going to be another yellow. This is going to belong to Hackshaw. Unbelievably, that is his 4th yellow. He also has 2 reds this year. He is a disciplinary point nightmare despite very few cardable offenses.
Been really vocal through 63 minutes here this afternoon. The year of Deshaun Beard.
Out of play. For what it's worth, the fact we've gotten this far without a red card relative to last week, where every game got marred by the Rojo. So we called a game, I think. We may have been on that call together. Both coaches got a yellow and one got sent off.
Madness.
Madness. Insanity. Hectic. Diaz. Speaking of hectic, taken away by Micheletto. Jump step through, Micheletto outside. Reyes is there, chops that up. The backside, still loose, pulled back, deflected down. Hurst is coming, and Akale had that shot on the trailing run. Now lifted way over the bar.
I think if you're Marco Micheletto, you make the wrong decision here. You do extremely well, but if you play to the weak side, Flanagan all alone, hits it on the first one, but this little pullback is fantastic. But look at this recovery from Logue. Makes himself big, comes across in terms of the timing to perfection, and just gets the ball caught between both legs. Last-ditch defending effort from every single player in an Oakland Roots jersey to deny New Mexico their opening goal here.
Sliding into the pocket, Reyes chasing onto it. Diaz, Blanchett got it away, but it's right up the gut. Outside Micheletto. Navigates in past Riley. Yanks it back. Reyes, Micheletto, Reyes. Had Hurst cutting in. Akale now. Akale serving. pressure mounting from New Mexico. Rodriguez, finally one push too many from Maples.
Really clever from Johnny Rodriguez. As his side is under a lot of pressure, now you need him to be the focal point to relieve some of it. Takes the ball towards the sideline, any sort of contact was going to make the most of it. And now you afford your side to kill the momentum, to get real estate back across. Just see how comfortable New Mexico is in terms of their combination play on top of the 18-yard box. They always seem to have an option, whether it's from a deep blank position, whether it is centrally or the overload. Cole has his side playing extreme confidence in the attacking third.
Diaz. And Bruce, the guy who's known for his epic effort in terms of pressing center backs. Gloucester plays it over. Hurst a little more nuanced in his game, perhaps, when he chooses to go, but he's been pretty active here in the second half.
That's the understanding for Greg Hurst, that when to press and when to drop in. I do think it plays into his favor as Eric Quill wants to be a little bit more pragmatic. So now you're not chasing the game as much, especially horizontally. I think he's been really good, Greg Hurst has.
Riley hits the big diagonal. Rasmussen is there. Muhammad dropped in to meet him. Well, big changes coming here in a moment for Oakland. Dom Dwyer set to come on for his 8th appearance for the club. This shifted over Hurst. Reyes offside.
But it's that exact action that Greg Hurst gives you the ability. He comes to feet. Now he has the ability just to pop the ball around the corner into Reyes. Just the timing a tad bit off. When you have a striker, it's just a luxury to have. He can create for himself, but also can bring players into the game.
Napo Masoso's waiting to come in too. Harry Swartz meandered to the 4th official for New Mexico as well. Here's Diaz. Diaz hangs, header down. That's going to go into the waiting grasp of Timbakis. It's a calm header from Reed.
Memo Diaz, 6 assists on the season. Always going to put in quality in terms of the service. Avon Reed does really well to get himself in between Muhammad and Maples. Just unable to time his jump and generate enough power. Good ball.
Kale from Micheletto. Osu circulates outside. Flanagan goes to work. Akale. Akale! New Mexico will make their first change now. Side with 15 wins, and so many of them built on their depth. Flanagan comes off, and Harry Swartz, who maybe a 30-minute restriction today, able to come in now with about 20 minutes and stoppage remaining. First sub either way.
3 goals on the season for Swartz. On the right-hand side, gives you the opportunity to come centrally and combine, but also can provide width.
Njai knocked off the ball. That's a handball. Caught Reyes. Twin substitution for Oakland. Dom Dwyer, an inimitable attacking force. Still trying to find his way within this team, seeks his first goal for Oakland. Napo Masoso into the game as well. That's it for Riley and Njai. And that's going to create a really interesting change here. Masoso can drop right in where Riley was. How you utilize Dwyer and the other pieces around him is going to make for an interesting shuffle.
I think more to find the roles for the Oakland Roots now. Masoso is going to do more of the defensive side of the ball, so now you afford Daniel Gomez.
This drops in, Diaz.
To go and join the attack a little bit more. I like to think that Dom Dwyer will play centrally and Johnny Rodriguez will pop off to the right-hand side.
Rodriguez, true to form.
That's a good ball from Johnny Rodriguez. You're just asking for someone to slash across that near post. And you ask every single coach around the world, that's the most important run inside the 18-yard box for two reasons. One, if you don't get on it, you pull out a center back, but the second one is if you do get on it, it's an easy tap-in. Just no one's making that near post run. I think Dom Dwyer, it's a good opportunity for him to kickstart his Oakland Roots career here against the top side in the Western Conference.
MLS Cup winner, twice an Open Cup winner. 85 goals in MLS. Gloucester. Over the top for Reyes. Hackshaw brings it into Blanchette. And a reminder that if you can't watch the match, turn on SiriusXM FC 157, North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk, including USL All Access. On Tuesdays, 7 p.m. Eastern, plus live matches from the USL, MLS, Premier League, and more. It's all on SiriusXM FC 157 and the still new SiriusXM app. Action this week on SiriusXM FC includes, you guessed it, this game. Also tomorrow, Tulsa and Colorado Springs, 6 p.m. Eastern time. Yellow card goes to Reed in midfield. 73rd minute, scoreless still.
A frustrating afternoon for Reed. Rash the way that he comes in the backside of Marco Micheletto. Just no need. Especially with the traffic around the New Mexico player. You have Gomez and you have Napo Masoso right there.
Players on yellows now, Gomez, Reed, Hackshaw, and Rodriguez for Oakland. Reyes and Gloucester for New Mexico. Flanagan was on a yellow, but was subbed off. Diaz did well to hit it up to Dwyer. Masoso. Both sides 4 unbeaten. Both would be in line to stretch that should this score line hold, but neither would be satisfied. Mexico acutely aware the percentages winning a title in theory are best at home. And #1 seed would ensure that all the way to the final. However, the #1 seed is very rarely safe in the Western Conference. And there's going to be a lot of jousting for that 7, 8, 9 region of the table the last few months of the year. Ripped out of play by Mohammed. Cedes a corner to Oakland.
For that little space between Mohammed and Seymour, it's just too wide. We've seen Trayvon Reed not once, but the second time now, just float in between that gray area and cause a little bit of confusion. Who's going to drop? Who's going to step? He gives his side corner kick in the 75th minute.
Does the breakthrough come on a set piece? Diaz, header, Dwyer! His first for the Roots! And Oakland takes the lead over the top team in the West. What a moment to open his Oakland scoring account.
Just mentioned it when he came on the field. What a brilliant opportunity this was for Dom Dwyer to make his impact felt here in an Oakland Roots jersey. That near post run, slash across that individual defender. You do not need to hit it hard, just simply redirect it. On frame, you give yourself a chance, no chance for Tambakis in the blink of an eye. He gives the Oakland Roots a 1-0 lead here in the 76th minute.
Dom Dwyer opens his scoring account for Oakland. When he first came into the team a few months ago, Gavin Glinton told us, we hope he's a guy who can help push us over the top. It's been a tumultuous run with this Oakland team. Injuries have kept him out at times. They've tried to manage his body as he comes back after having not played last year. And now Dwyer bags an enormous goal. That's a goal, $100 to the Berkeley Humane Society, generously donated by our partner, LJ Cruise Company. Donate or adopt a shelter pet at berkeleyhumane.com. Let's go Roots. What a moment for Dom Dwyer. I feel like, to an extent, his story has been so well told, perhaps overtold. Cuckfield in England to Tyler Junior College in the U.S., finished at USF, drafted by Kansas City, landed in Orlando on loan when they were in USL, put up a 19-goal season that ultimately set him up for a tremendous run at Kansas City, then Orlando. Brief stints in Toronto and Atlanta where he struggled to really catch on. And now here in Oakland, signed April the 26th. And now, nearly 4 months later, Dwyer's got his first. Lest we forget, Dwyer worked into the U.S. national team in 2017, went through that entire process to earn citizenship here. And he's engaged here today. Foul committed, free kick. Memo Diaz, as you'd anticipate, picturesque service, earns the assist, his 7th of the year. That's a career high. Rodriguez just trying to keep it alive. He's done more than that. Dwyer back toward Rodriguez. Now Hosu.
I'll tell you what, if you get Dom Dwyer and Johnny Rodriguez firing on all cylinders, the Oakland Roots have a very lethal attacking duo at the head of their lineup. Johnny Rodriguez can do all the off-the-ball stuff, making those runs, being a nightmare, and then Dom Dwyer, instinctual finisher. Big moment for the Oakland Roots in terms of the confidence for those two players.
Swartz.
eFootball 2024 is here. Live your dream, rep your team, and play as your favorite USL Championship club. eFootball is free to play. Download now.
I feel the way he said, live your dream, acknowledges that I could never actually play the game.
Oh, stop. You haven't seen your audition for TST?
It was terrible.
Oh, it was great.
Yeah.
How about that card read, though?
Yeah, that was good. Broadcast school really paid off. That's a Creighton education. That's the Jesuits putting their imprint on you, buddy. Love it.
Just learning from the best. The guy right next to me countless of times.
Ricky, you're sitting next to a wall. Up here to Rodriguez. And Reyes caught him from behind. Reyes is on a yellow card. That'd be a really harsh yellow to be his second. It would not be shocking it had been his first.
Needs to be very careful, especially with how tightly this game has been whistled. You do not want to go down a man if you're New Mexico and Eric Quill, already decimated with injuries.
Diaz. Akale. What do you think of his foray in the 10, Akale, today?
I think he's been impressive. We talked about him earlier, how comfortable he is in tight spaces, but just hasn't seen the ball as enough as he would like.
Reed outside. Rasmussen is there. Inside for Rodriguez and skipped up on him. Lifted over the bar. Nicoletto. Punched over the top. Diaz has to deal with Reyes. They will not be inviting one another out to brunch tomorrow, I can promise you. That has been a spirited battle. Hurst. Gloucester. Nicoletto seeks the back post. Blanchette let this run through his hands and out. That's going to be a corner. Let's go back to the previous play first.
This is exactly what I'm talking about. Just watch the movement of Johnny Rodriguez and Dom Dwyer. He plays off of Dom Dwyer. Dom Dwyer makes a run towards that far post, so that opens the lane for Johnny Rodriguez. Yes, it doesn't come to fruition, but those are the types of actions that if you continue to work with one another, you're going to understand the movements, and it's going to do well for the Oakland Roots.
Corner for New Mexico. Header ripped through. Hackshaw.
Over the last couple of minutes, Mike, we've seen how clever Marco Micheletto is at just finding these little slip passes as he requires so much attention of Matsoso and Gomez. Now you free up Akale and Hosu. He's been a joy to watch in this 2024 season, Marco Micheletto has.
Letting him drop a little deeper in this game when he and Hosu switched places, which was part of the plan coming in. Masoso gave a dirty look back. He felt like he nearly got his ankles clobbered by the aforementioned Micheletto. Rasmussen. Reed streams toward it. Inside Rodriguez. Spots the run of Gagi. Diaz. Gagi continues. Angles back, lumbering toward the line. Enough contact there that it took a shin guard with him. Subs galore incoming. See? Safe and sound. Meanwhile, that's it for Reyes. He was on that yellow card. In comes Nicky Hernandez. 12th appearance off the bench, 21st in totality this year.
Now he'll play that number 10 position, and Akale will pop off to his left-hand side, a bit more natural from Aquila here. Now you have that midfield trio of Hernandez, Micheletto, and Hosu.
Mentioned New Mexico, thin bench. In terms of field players, Herbert the center back, then Lottie the forward, Astorga, and the 18-year-old who signed a pro deal about a month and a half ago, Jackson Dubois, available. Yellow shown here. Soso did get caught that time.
The argument for Swartz here is there's just no options to play in between as he takes this touch centrally. No angle. You have to go through Napamatsoso. He loses control of the ball, takes the legs of the Oakland Roots players with him.
Changes now. Ishinet Sherry comes in off the bench, replaces Trayvon Reed, who was on a yellow. And then Danny Gomez replaced by Cozy Donaciano.
You have a different dynamic centrally. Napamatsoso, Donaciano, box to box for Donaciano, Napamatsoso able to cover ground defensively. I think if you're Gavin Clinton, those two players complement each other very well. There's a lot of different looks that he can put on the field in that position for him.
Throw for New Mexico. The USL Championship is on CBS Sports and ESPN platforms all season long. Live matches, expert analysis every day on the CBS Sports Golazo Network, the ESPN Plus. Go to uslchampionship.com for the complete USL TV listings. This is the last change for New Mexico. They'll only use 3 in this game. Gloucester off, replaced by Abu Dunladi. Only his second appearance. Former #1 overall pick in the MLS Super Draft by Minnesota United. The expansion team at the time selected him out of UCLA, where he was the guy. Debuted back on the 4th of July against Orange County.
So now you have Greg Hurst and Abu Dunladi as the 2 striking pair for New Mexico. Seems like they've gone into a 3-back system. Mohammed, Seymour, and Maples, the 3 center backs. Then your wing backs will be Swartz and Hernandez here. Very interesting signing for Eric Will and New Mexico. If you get him, firing the ceiling for Dunladi can be extremely high.
Hernandez, header through, Olade on, Diaz. This could turn into a foot race. Header back, Dwyer. Let's get all the way to the penalty area. Mexico will host Miami next weekend, then go to Detroit. Detroit actually playing Hartford right now. 1-1, Mamadou Zhang has scored his 4th goal in 3 games. Ben Morris equalizing. Both sides both competing in the lower to mid-table in the East. Oakland will go away to North Carolina next week and then host down on their luck San Antonio side in 2 weeks. Then they'll see the aforementioned Hartford team, who at that point may be playing for their playoff lives. It's amazing, right? Sometimes we talk about how this is more of an even schedule than ever before in the championship. But the reality is the time in which you see teams can so substantially change the nature of, well, we both played Miami. Well, did you play them at home or on the road? Did you play them at the beginning of the year when they had hope, or do you have it now where they're mired in despair?
It's the beauty of USL Championship. And earlier this year, Mike, you and I were fortunate to speak with one of the head coaches, and they said, look, if you win 4 or 5 games, it's a completely different table. How quickly things can change and teams can capture form.
Into stoppage time, 4 added minutes. Maples. Dwyer. Trying to reestablish a little bit of verticality. Slumps back in along with the rest of the Roots, trying to defend a 1-0 lead against the top team in the West. Micheletto forgot to Hurst. And New Mexico has a chance to catch Oakland a little bit out here. They started to expand upfield like an accordion. Makale. Hernandez. Makale. Sends that through. Skews upward. Back set by Swartz and out. Sacramento in their bye week. So the lead for New Mexico, should this remain, will stay at 7 points. But Oakland will move up to third place and only 8 points off the pace. Makale. Header up from Swartz. Blanchette came racing out. I don't know how much ball he got. You can hear Eric Quill, the keeper just destroyed everyone. That may actually be an assistant, it is. Losing his mind on the New Mexico sideline, and perhaps for good reason. Micheletto, Hurst, ball through to Micheletto, never arrived, and cleared. The best thing the Roots can do right now is put it in the bay. Maples. Offering for Hurst, Hackshaw. Maples brings it down, Hernandez. Hernandez with 100 seconds to go. Dwyer in the 76th stands the difference. A towering header. Up toward Maples, who remains high, and Maples whistled for the foul on the leap.
Last opportunity that has the New Mexico bench going crazy as his ball pops up. Paul Blanchette comes off his line. He doesn't make contact with the ball whatsoever. He takes out Schwartz. And you just see confusion on the face of the whole entire New Mexico bench. You know, can Roots get away with one here?
The yellow shown to the bench. In your mind, that's
100%
that's
the
a
pen.
pen.
100%. Makes no play on the ball, no contact on the ball, takes all of the visiting side player.
Alex Eve enters the game. 5th and final change. Rodriguez comes off. And Alex Eve, hardly a human victory cigar. There's still work to be done here. Both teams are out of subs. Hernandez slips that ahead. Here's Hurst. Hurst cuts over. Didn't reach Donlotti, but did get over the line for a corner. Might now be the last opportunity. See if Timbakis wants to join the ruckus in the penalty area or not. Seen a goalkeeper goal this year. Ball whipped across. He was up. And that is the full-time whistle. A famous win for the Oakland Roots. A 5th anniversary gift. A win over the #1 team in the Western Conference. Dom Dwyer's goal, the difference, and the Roots advance to 3rd in the West. 5 unbeaten. A massive win for Oakland at home.
Just professional from the Oakland Roots from top to bottom. Compact defensively, and Dom Dwyer, player with the experience, makes a difference. Massive 3 points for the Roots.
Tonight's final score brought to you by Anthem. And the Oakland Roots grab an enormous 3 points They knock off the top team in the West. We'll wrap it up after this.
How can someone so cute be so complicated? Someone so grown up still have so much growing left to do. We know kids aren't many adults. Their still developing bodies and minds need specialized care, including physicians and care teams who focus on treating kids and only kids, which is why from everyday to emergencies, kids belong at UCSF Benioff Children's Hospitals.
Eating a balanced diet and being physically active are two of the most important things you can do to be healthy at any age. Fruits, vegetables, and lean proteins can help control your weight and prevent heart disease, diabetes, and cancer. Regular exercise can help boost your mood, digestion, and sleep. That's why Anthem Blue Cross and Oakland Roots encourage you to eat right and get active. For additional healthy tips, come visit us at oaklandrootssc.com/anthem.
Tonight's final score brought to you by Anthem. 4 months in the making, Dom Dwyer scores for Oakland in the 76th minute, and the Roots take all three at home over New Mexico 1-0. Ricky Lopez, Espin, Mike Watts, let's wrap this one up. Look at the full-time highlights. And this New Mexico team came in high-powered, but certainly down on their luck injury-wise. Created enough on the day.
I thought Hosu was fantastic for New Mexico. He was at the thick of everything on both sides of the ball. Greg Hurst unable to find the back of the net, but the way that New Mexico started in this next second 45, I thought they were fantastic. Yet again, very unlucky not to find the back of the net, but as his ball comes across low, that saves a goal. Makes himself big, gets the ball caught between both legs, and keeps this thing 0-0.
Skip ahead to the 76th minute. This is the difference. Fourth and working in USL League One. Here's the standings. New Mexico unable to advance any further past Sacramento, who are vacant this week. Oakland move into third place over Memphis with a game in hand.
Just fantastic for the Oakland Roots. Very vocal that they want to be able to host a playoff game because you know how good they are at home. So that's the importance of this match was as they take on North Carolina in the Eastern Conference. Then you host San Antonio, who's at the bottom, and Hartford Athletics. So if you're the Oakland Roots, massive opportunity to continue to cover ground.
And that does it for us here today in Hayward. Thanks for joining us this evening, Oakland Roots and Bart. Want to make sure you get home? Visit bart.gov/planner to plan your trip now. Oakland gets a long-awaited goal from a massive name who's finally started to write a new chapter with the Roots. Dwyer the winner. Oakland wins it 1-0. For Ricky Lopez, Espin, our whole team in Hayward and beyond, Mike Watts saying so long and have a good night, everybody.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.